What can 300 men achieve with unshakable faith and God's power? Discover the miraculous story of Gideon and his fearless warriors. If you're interested in this type of content about biblical teachings, please support me by subscribing, and don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. The story of Gideon begins in a time of great turmoil for the Israelites. The Midianites, along with the Amalekites and other eastern peoples, had formed a vast alliance and were ravaging Israel. These marauders would come like locusts in number, laying waste to the land and leaving the Israelites impoverished and in despair. The Israelites, who had once been a powerful and united people under the leadership of figures like Joshua, were now scattered and hiding in caves and strongholds, fearful for their lives and their livelihoods. Amidst this suffering, the Israelites cried out to God for help. God, ever faithful and merciful, heard their pleas and decided to act. He chose an unlikely hero, Gideon, the son of Joash, from the tribe of Manasseh. Gideon was not a warrior or a leader by nature. He was an ordinary man, full of doubts and insecurities. When we first meet Gideon, he is threshing wheat in a winepress, hiding it from the Midianites, a symbol of the fear and oppression that had gripped Israel. As Gideon worked, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, greeting him with a surprising declaration. "The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor." Judges 6:12 KJV. Gideon, taken aback, responded with skepticism, questioning why all these calamities had befallen Israel if the Lord was truly with them. He asked, "O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, Did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord hath forsaken us, and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites." Judges 6:13 KJV. The angel of the Lord turned to him and said, "Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee?" Judges 6:14 KJV. Despite the angel's words, Gideon still harbored doubts. He protested, "O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house." Judges 6:15 KJV. The Lord reassured Gideon, saying, "Surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man." Judges 6:16 KJV. To bolster his faith, Gideon asked for a sign. He prepared an offering of meat and unleavened cakes, placing them on a rock as instructed by the angel. The angel touched the offering with the tip of his staff, and fire sprang up from the rock, consuming the offering. This miraculous sign confirmed to Gideon that he was indeed in the presence of the divine. Empowered by this encounter, Gideon built an altar to the Lord and named it Jehovah Shalom, meaning "the Lord is peace." That same night, the Lord commanded Gideon to destroy the altar of Baal that his father had built and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. In obedience, Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord had commanded, but he did it at night because he was afraid of his family and the townspeople. When the people of the town saw what had happened, they demanded Gideon's life. However, his father Joash stood up for him, saying, "Will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death whilst it is yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one hath cast down his altar." Judges 6:31 KJV. This act of courage marked the beginning of Gideon's transformation from a fearful young man into a leader chosen by God. Soon after, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the men of Israel to follow him. 32,000 men responded, ready to fight the Midianites. But God had a different plan in mind. As the men gathered around Gideon, God spoke to him, saying, "The people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, Mine own hand hath saved me." Judges 7:2 KJV. God's intention was clear. He wanted Israel to recognize that their deliverance would come from him alone, not from their own strength or numbers. Gideon, obedient to God's command, announced to the assembled troops, "Whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead." Judges 7:3 KJV. This proclamation led to 22,000 men leaving, reducing the number of soldiers to 10,000. Yet, God said to Gideon, "The people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there." Judges 7:4, KJV. At the water, God instructed Gideon to observe how the men drank. Those who lapped the water with their tongues, as a dog laps, were set apart from those who knelt down to drink. Only 300 men lapped the water with their hands to their mouths. God said to Gideon, "By the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go, every man unto his place." Judges 7:7 KJV. This reduction in numbers was a profound test of faith for Gideon and his men. It required them to trust completely in God's power and plan. By choosing those who lapped the water, God ensured that the final group was composed of vigilant and alert warriors, ready to act at a moment's notice. With his small band of 300 warriors, Gideon prepared for battle. God provided Gideon with a unique strategy designed to show his power and confuse the enemy. Each of the 300 men was given a trumpet, an empty pitcher, and a torch within the pitcher. They divided into 3 companies and approached the Midianite camp at night, under the cover of darkness. Gideon instructed his men, "Look on me and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that, as I do, so shall ye do. When I blow with the trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." Judges 7:17-18 KJV. The night was silent as the 300 men took their positions. The Midianite camp, sprawling and confident in its numbers, was unaware of the impending ambush. At Gideon's signal, the silence was shattered by the sound of 300 trumpets blasting in unison. The men broke the pitchers, revealing the blazing torches, and shouted, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon!" The sudden noise, the light from the torches, and the cries of Gideon's men threw the Midianite camp into chaos. Startled from their sleep, the Midianites were confused and terrified, believing they were under attack by a vast army. In their panic and confusion, they turned their swords against each other. The camp was engulfed in chaos, with the Midianites fleeing in all directions. The theological significance of this strategy cannot be overstated. It demonstrated that victory comes not through human might or conventional warfare, but through obedience to God's unconventional methods. It underscored the principle that not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Zechariah 4-6 KJV. Those who survived fled in terror, pursued by the men of Israel who had been called back to join the chase. As word of the victory spread, the tribes of Israel rallied to Gideon's side, cutting off the fleeing Midianites and ensuring a comprehensive victory. The enemy was completely routed, and Israel was delivered from oppression. Gideon's obedience and the faith of his 300 men had led to a miraculous victory that clearly displayed God's power. This victory was not just a military triumph, but a spiritual lesson for all of Israel. It reminded them that their true strength lay in their relationship with God and their trust in His plans.